Well, hi and welcome to my shop, and thank you so much for joining me here, keeping me company while I take a look at these two nearly identical car radios. I'm not going to be making an attempt to do anything to these other than examine them and kind of figure out what I've got myself into here. So I don't normally work on car radios. These ones are older and they're packed with vacuum tubes. So they're in my zone, but my experience with car radios is very limited. And these are nearly identical car radios. They have the main radio part that would be in your dash, and I guess this is hidden somewhere behind. Yikes. Okay. Don't know an awful lot about these. There was a bit of a story that came with them, but I couldn't tell you the story now. So just looking them over, just like this, there's a little bit of a difference. It says 12 volts there, just like this one says 12 volts. Was that really an issue? Just try to spot some of the differences here between these. We'll just look at this part. I'm just going to set these back a little bit. Why don't you come down out of the sky for a bit of a better look at them. Car radios, not my forte, so pretty typical of a car radio. Push the button, that tunes right across. Interesting mechanism inside that produces the push button tune. You probably pull out to store a station, but I'm not even sure about how it's done on these. Certainly a lot of car radios, you pull out the button and you push it back in and it remembers where the pointer is sitting. Volume, this is probably some kind of balance thing going on back here. Volume control, must be the light inside. And just a big metal box. Oh, here's something right here. GM Auto Radio. Serial number? Yeah, serial number 561. You can't see this, maybe 01702. 01702. 12 volts. There must have been some 6-volt cars floating around or something that they keep wanting to tell you it's 12 volts. That's the antenna input jack. This is probably a ground jack near the front of the radio. This is probably the speaker out, shielded cable. Two cables. It's just an AM radio. Well, I'm kind of guessing a little bit. Yeah, I'll take a peek inside this in a little bit. Peek inside one of them anyway. So if we look at the two of them together, there is quite a difference here. This one is much more advanced, in fact. First of all, it's all a little more chrome, and it has this button here, this great big button. So this is an auto-tune radio. So you push the button, and I think it tunes to the next station. Don't really know exactly how it manages to do that. It must have a motor inside to drive it, though. This one's not auto-tuned, except it has just the push buttons on it. Just AM. Oh, snap buttons. The pointer's going nowhere. How do you know what you've tuned to? Maybe if the radio were plugged in and powered up, pushing this button would cause it to go somewhere automatically. So this would be like the search button. And these would be presets. Done somehow. I don't know how. This cabinet looks way better. Like there's no rust on here. This one's all rusted. I believe the owner who talked me into taking these on, he told me he's had somebody do something to one of them, or one is from his car and the other one he purchased, and one of them has been upgraded to some degree. And if you let's set these aside for now. I very cleverly numbered them so I can't confuse the radio receiver part with the power supply there. You know, there's 4 things on my bench. I'm bound to get confused if I'm not careful. So what I see here, the difference right away is the tube is missing here. This says OZ4, and it's got a sideways C on it. I think this is a rectifier tube. And I believe what the owner of these radios was telling me was that somebody made it so you don't need to have this tube here. Instead, there's probably a solid-state rectifier in there somewhere. He's wired in. And this looks like a replaced capacitor here. Can we see that on the other one? Let me see if I can stand this up with a block. Maybe a little bit. Maybe not. Very stable. Okay, don't risk dropping it. Just looking at them like this. These are probably vibrators. Somehow this radio, because it has tubes in it, needs to develop some high voltage. And old car radios did that by turning the battery DC into AC by literally using a vibrating relay type system. And there's a vibrating contact which would reverse the polarity of the battery voltage back and forth. And that horrible technique of creating an alternating current is then manipulated in the radio, goes through a transformer, probably this one I would guess, build up some high voltage probably only being 150 volts or something like that. On these radios, these vibrators fail. So are these good or not? Who knows? And why is there this and the other part? Why aren't they all in one? So there's the speaker. Because I guess it's just too much stuff. There's the speaker there. This one's got a tear in its cone. There looks like a tear there that's been patched maybe. So you can imagine this is sitting on the dash, up on the dash of the car. One speaker, probably one in the front and maybe one in the back. And then you'd have the balance control to switch between them. Only guessing. Guessing at this, they look pretty identical. These got new screws, nice shiny screws. This has got the old original ones here. I would think these speakers take a beating in the dash of a car. The sun shining down and the car getting hot. Here we see these are older capacitors. So what I'm doing, just again, I'm just assessing this so I know what I've got myself into. At least I think I know what I've got myself into, and then I can plan the repair. Maybe a month from now is when I'll actually work on these. So this is a 12V6. That's probably a 12V6 also. So it probably has push-pull output. I guess, you know, in a car, you need volume. Especially back in the 1950s or 60s when these were active radios. You had to turn the volume up. In fact, I used to tell people that's how I fixed my car. If it's making funny noises, I just turn the volume up on the radio. Fixed. Permanent magnet speaker. It's not that old. Very dirty, of course. This is a coil here. So I got what I assume is the power transformer, rectifier, and vibrator. This is probably the speaker output transformer. Basically, I guess we could call this the power amp unit and speaker power supply. It's doing a few things. This one's not going to be any different, really. Well, it is. It is different. Something's been done to it. I don't see a diode. I'm looking in through here. I don't see a diode, but there's probably one in there somewhere. Unless I'm mistaken about what this tube is here. But I doubt that. Okay, there's another little transformer here. So perhaps this is a choke. Got wires hanging out. Got a wire here. It's just on a little clippy thing. Not a clippy thing. A connector of some sort. What is that all about? Why would they do it that way? They do the same thing on the other one. Got a joint in it here, or a splice. Same deal. Why? This is just stuck onto the side of the transformer, like onto the frame. Oh no, no, there's an insulating piece here, so it's no. See, it's a terminal connection to one of the wires that's inside the coil here. So the wire comes out of the coil. Maybe this is a big choke coil. Connects here, and you have this piece you just slide in. That's kind of odd. Why would they do that? Why not solder it onto a terminal? This is going right to the speaker. Voice coil terminal. There's some more wires on this side, so this has got to be the output transformer. This little one here, don't know. Who knows? I don't know. And I don't care to investigate this too far tonight. Just making kind of a quick look. Where do you plug the power in? This is probably the power coming in from the battery, and then the frame bolted to the frame of the car is probably the other connection, if you like. Okay, we'll put these two guys aside. I'll leave them up here. Just move them back. Pick one of these radios. Let's pick this one. This is a fancier one. So again, this is probably power in. It's got two wires hanging out here. It's got this thing happening here. This is probably going here. This guy probably plugs in here. Where would you plug in? You would plug in some there. Plug in there. Okay, that's that. That solves that. So these are shielded wires because they're conveying a signal to an amplifier. And a little bit of hum or noise, it wouldn't be hum, I guess it would be engine noise in these leads would be amplified. Come out of your speaker. Make your car sound better. So it looks like a top and a bottom cover. Just a few screws holding it. Let's take the top cover off. You know what? We can actually leave that there. Just leave it. Leave it. Leave it, man. Now look what you've done. Okay, take these guys off. They're probably quarter. Yep. That one was a little loose. This one's loose. Maybe I should say not tight. I think you have one of these in your car. Everything's got to be bolted up and held down tight because of course your car is bouncing down the roads of 1960. Got a kind of a weird clip arrangement here. Not weird, but go. Pop this light out. No, I'll just leave it. We'll look inside. Okay, so someone's gone in here and changed out the capacitors in this radio. I wish I could remember which one it was that the fellow had in his car. I think it's the other one. I don't think it's this one. I think he purchased this one. And he would just as soon, I think, have the other one in his car because he, like a lot of car collectors, he's a stickler for keeping things original. So this would not be the original if I have the story right. So the thing about these cars with mechanics for the automatic dial is it's all kind of worked in there pretty tight. You can see tube socket, tube socket, tube, tube, tube. Looks like 5 tubes in there. Looks like he's changed this capacitor. Is there any he hasn't done? This one might be original. Resistors all look original. Well, the work's been done. At least that much work's been done. I'm going to try to get this bulb out of here. Just whoosh. A little more play here for the bench. I'd say this bulb has 2 filaments in it. It's only got 1 wire though. Something a little unusual about this bulb. Okay, why don't we look in the other? So let's push some stuff here now. I mean, it's not plugged in, so nothing's going to happen. Nothing moving. But just looking in here, you see springs. Some kind of a relay arrangement here. Got some this yellowish colored piece with this top on it. Maybe that's the motor? I don't think so. Oh, that's probably a relay. It's probably, doesn't feel like it. Like a solenoid or something of that sort. Maybe up in here. Okay, so let's take the other side off too. Why not? I think we get a better look at the mechanics if I do that. These weren't particularly tight. And there's no lock washers on these. Of course, my truck, nothing old about it, really. As you would know, probably know, many of the parts are just snapped together with little plastic, I don't know what to call them, plastic pop-in pieces that don't usually pop out without getting ruined. Someone's come to visit me. Here we are. This is quite a different look here. There's the tubes. This one's got a shield on it. See some adjustments here. Capacitors probably for doing the alignment. Big honking coil there. Hello! How are you tonight? You're good, eh? So this has inductance tuning. I think that's very common in a car radio. These are 3 coils, and there's a plunger, if you like, going down in the coil, and they're on this moving bar, which is going to move when you tune the radio. There we are, tuning away. You can see the slugs coming out. Reluctance tuning may be the proper term for it. Is that right? Ina, is that right? Yeah. Obviously he wants me to do something for him. Lots of gears. Oh, that's very light. So the thing about the automatic tuning is you push the button, it goes across. When it tunes in a signal, it stops. How it knows to do that is, I don't know. I don't know exactly how it manages to do that. Look at all that mechanism in there. Feels good though. There's some kind of a mechanical adjustment here, a stop of some sort. Some mark probably during manufacture or something done, something like that, or who knows. Let's pull one of these out. Scare me there. 12 BA6. So BA6 is a very typical radio tube. And I never thought about it, but that's one of the reasons why there'd be 12 volt tubes. So they can go into 12 volt cars. How clever. Whereas most radios have 6 volt tubes in them. Got an IF can, what I'm guessing is an IF can over here, and the other one way over here. And all this stuff in between. Got a wire here that's coiled up. So the question I need to ask myself is, to work on this, what more would I have to take apart? Maybe this plate come off? Get at whatever's under there. What is under there? Can look down here. Not much. Must be a motor in here that drives the... would it be a motor or would it be a solenoid that's just pushing? Is that what this is? Car battery provides you a lot of current. Maybe that's what that is. Maybe it's not really a motor in the sense that there's a rotating motor. It's a motor in the sense that it pushes. What if I push? Or pull. Push or pull. Got me. Now this would have to be built to be really rugged, really take a beating. Like in some car radios, the tubes have straps over them holding them in so they won't shake loose. There's not much holding these in. There's nothing special about the lid. There's a fair bit of staining inside that. It's really nice on the outside, but not so good on the inside. How'd that happen? You know, I'm ignoring you, Peanut. He's not ignoring me, though. So it looks like there was once a sticker on here with some information, maybe. Why the stains? Who knows where this car radio has sat when it wasn't in a car. It could have sat anywhere. Got water on it. Rained on or something like that. What about this part? So that's nice and clean. That's the top though. So it could be this has been sitting somewhere and it's taken a little bit of abuse. Oh my gosh, Peanut. Can you wait? Can you wait about 10 minutes? Is that okay? 10 minutes? He's just giving me a look like, yeah, 10 minutes. Okay, let's just flip it over again. Well, it doesn't look like a really tough one to work on. I mean, everything is up and exposed. What's going on with this resistor here? The lead is bent back. That's odd. A resistor to nowhere. That's quite odd. This is the radio that has had... Oh, we should be able to see the change to wherever the rectifier tube went. No, that's up in here. Don't get confused now, Jim. Well, there's a good chance this radio works. Good chance they both work. I don't see anything just extraordinarily bad about it. Okay. Maybe we'll take the bottom off that. Just set this aside. I really haven't identified these for exactly what they are, but it's probably pretty easy to do. So, antique automobile radio incorporated solid state vibrator. So lucky on this one. So there is a guy, it's probably a number of people who rebuild the original vibrator. It's literally a vibrator inside, a mechanical vibrator, and they use just a regular, more modern electronic components to achieve the same result in a can exactly like the original. You just pop out your tired old vibrator and pop in one of these guys. So this is very, very good, because almost certainly in an old radio, well, I shouldn't say almost certainly, very commonly the vibrator is shot. Now this one says, so this I think is a regular vibrator. Let's pull it out. Oh, this is really strapped in. Of course it's buzzing a bit while it's working. Oh boy, don't, is something coming apart? Something coming apart here? Doesn't feel right. I've already got myself in trouble with this. Doesn't feel right. Okay, we're just going to leave it in there. Leave it in there because I'm scared. Okay, let's take the bottom off this one. So what's happened is, maybe when you have this, you don't need that. Maybe the rectifier is taken care of in here, or it's just not even a necessary part. Maybe there's a little wiring change you make if you're going to put in a solid state vibrator, I guess you would say. Maybe solid state vibrator replacer. She comes. Okay. Yeah, there's two diodes right there. So that's what's happened. So two diodes to get rid of the rectifier tube, and then the new non-vibrating vibrator. There's lots of capacitors in here. I guess if you're going to go this far, you're bound to do the rest of the work. It's not that much more. Little capacitor there. Dirty everywhere, but intact. There's a little guy here. Just looking at these, guessing that this work was done. Just a guess. This looks newer, but these look, I'm just guessing, 20 years ago. So recent. Yeah. Nothing out. Just looking. Nothing else to see. Okay, I think I have a much better idea what it is that, oh, there's one more thing to look at. Peanut, the 10 minutes is not up yet. Just gonna put this here. One more thing to look at. Who'd ever thought I'd have one of these in my shop? Check this out. Trim piece. Trying to keep the water from getting down into things. guess the owner supplied it on the basis that I might need it as the antenna. It's a little bit surprising how that's done. All shielded, I guess. Again, you know, in the older cars with, and I guess in newer cars too, but maybe not to as great a degree. Spark plugs make noise. The distributor system makes noise. Big thing back in the day was ignition noise. That's what you were fighting with. Today it's computer noise. Ignition noise is a lot easier to deal with than computer noise. Nice cable. That's the antenna. Okay, I think that's all we're going to see here tonight. So thanks a lot for watching. I am in the midst of working on a somewhat troublesome Nord-Mendy radio right now, and I thought maybe this would be nice to do something that doesn't strain my my brain too much. So hope you enjoyed that tour through a couple car radios, and some point in the next few weeks I'll actually try to power these guys up. I do have a good power supply that can produce lots of amps. Low voltage radios may require a little more amps than you might expect. So I've got the supply to do it. Great. Thanks a lot for watching.